I must have been probably 18. I thought it was the most important thing I'd ever said to her or anybody else. I said to her, we're going to grow old together. I was 18. I didn't know what old was. So if you marry me, know that it's going to be for life.
I just want to know, like, your story, basically. Do you remember when you first met Mom?
Yeah, for me it was science class, earth science. That's got to be like around probably late 1967.
First time I saw Elaine coming, she came across this threshold,
Yeah.
and I remember everything about that.
I used to see him in middle school. I used to see him and his younger brother, Keith. My thought was, wow, these guys, they look so nerdy. Always carrying a briefcase and very neat and very proper. But there was something different about both of them, actually. So when we went to high school, then we were in the class together, and I really liked him.
I never got to sit next to the prettiest girl in class. We used to talk on the phone all the time, exchange information. I used to copy her homework, or at least try to. Did you do the homework? She says, yeah. Like, can I borrow your book to copy it? So I borrowed her book for that weekend, but instead of copying the homework, I sketched a bouquet of roses. And then I put, I love roses on the back and signed it.
He will come to my house and he will paint, like that was one of the pictures that he painted up there. One day my mom said, hey, how about this guy Winston? Do you like him? I'm like, yeah, it's okay. She says, you know what, I think he's a good guy for you. That's when I really felt, oh, you know, this might be serious because my mom approved of Winston.
Well, how did you know Mom was the one?
Actually, I did not. She was just a good friend of mine. I took her to the house on Cobra Street to meet my family. And before I could introduce her to my parents and my grandmother, she was running down the hall, hugging and kissing my grandmother. It was like, holy smoke, it was over by then. I couldn't date anyone else because at that time I wasn't working or in high school, so if we were going to go on a date to a movie or anything, I would ask my grandmother or my parents for the money. Whenever I asked for my grandmother for money, she would say, well, who are you dating? And if it was anybody other than Rose, she didn't have any money. If it was Rose, so what do you need? And she would give me money. So she kind of picked my wife for me. She would give me money when I was dating her, and anybody else, she was broke. When we got out of high school, we both started Brooklyn College. I finished out the semester and I dropped out of college and joined the Air Force. Now this was during the Vietnam War. She wrote me a letter just about every day. And when you go into basic training, that's what you live for because everything else around you is so difficult and so miserable. And she wrote me a letter every day and I think I'm gonna marry this girl. So I wrote a letter home telling my parents that when I come home, I'm going to marry Rose. There was no objection, except later on I found out my dad thought I was too young. I was 19 at the time. November 28th would be my 20th birthday. So I came home on leave and we got married in November 29th, 1969. In 1971, I was sent overseas. I was in the military, and I was stationed overseas for a year. I was in a combat support zone, so you couldn't have family members there. So all the servicemen, no families were allowed. The toughest thing about that was I could only call home twice. I bought 2 cassette recorders and I mailed one home, and I kept one home. So to hear her voice was on a tape recorder.
Oh, I can forget about that.
At that time, she was also expecting our first child, Rosalind. Rosalind was born when I was over there. By the time I got home, she was 9 months old. That's when I first met her.
What marriage meant to me then was very important because I was not raised in a home where there was a mom and a dad. I was not raised with by my dad. And it's almost like a vow that I made as a child that when I get married, I want to be married to a very good man. I wanted to create what I didn't have. So at my age, 70 years old, there's still that little girl inside of me still. The journey of making something that I've always wanted have not ended. It's continuing still. I'm constantly building my marriage, even after 50 years. Sometimes sickness can come, which it has come in our lives. Economic situations come, and you have to make up your mind. Am I gonna stick by that person and make it work? It takes patience, and it takes a lot of love and understanding. It takes so much. And as you develop in all that, you find yourself becoming a stronger person. Each season of my life makes me love him more.
Loving Rose is a choice that I made a long time ago. Jesus said to his disciples and to people around him, love your enemies. That says to me, you can do that. That's a choice that you get to make. Well, heck, if he's saying love your enemies, it should be an easy thing to say, you know what? I love my friends. I love my family. I love people around me. That is something that you get to do. It's when I look back at my life and what we've done and what we were able to accomplish and realize we did that together. We don't always agree, but we always find a way to make it work and to make it work and make it work properly to the benefit of both of us and to our family. And I look back on our lives, I don't have any regret. I'd marry her again. We love each other deeply. She's my best friend. She's my confidant. She knows everything about me. There are no secrets between us. We're partners in everything that we do. And as long as I live, she'll be my partner.